Hello, good afternoon. I'm not wearing any pants. I'm not even kidding. Actually, I actually am under orders from the doc to, when I'm home, let the open areas on the incision get as much air as possible, which means no pants. So what I've been doing, I've been like when I'm at least in the evenings, because I need to be experiencing some normalcy. So like getting up and doing things like putting a bra on and putting shoes on have actually been important to me. The bra thing's actually been happening for a few weeks, but the shoe thing's been a little less frequent. So anyway, what I do is I wear like a nightshirt, and then I have a puppy pad or chucks kind of taped to just the top of my belly, so that the leakage isn't, the fluid's not soaking into my shirt, that I have to change that constantly like it was at the hospital. I was constantly having to change my gown because of the leakage, and my socks. The socks used to get really gross from everything dripping. So you know, I kind of just keep that over it just to kind of catch whatever fluid's leaking, just so it's not dripping everywhere. But the reason I have no pants on at the moment is because I had a little mishap again. My ostomy nurse was just here like an hour or so ago. I woke up fairly late, so I didn't get a shower or anything before she got here. And it's interesting because a lot of ostomy support sites and ostomy product manufacturers will suggest changing your appliance, your pouch, before doing anything where you're going to be in water, such as showering, bathing, swimming, things like that. So I thought, oh, well, this will be a good way to try this out, because usually I do my bag after I shower, because a lot of times if it is a situation where it needs to be changed, it's because I had some leakage and need to get a shower, and then I'll, you know, get all the extra goop and adhesive and stuff off and change it after the shower. So unfortunately, I did not get as good of a adhesion. So some of the water from the shower and I think some of the fluid from the wounds got under my quote waterproof strips and causes the bag to loosen up. So even though I just did a bag change like an hour ago, now I have to do another one. I'm actually gonna, I think I'm gonna keep the pouch because there's barely anything in it, and I'm just gonna change the wafer. And I'm not gonna go into like gory detail and show you everything on my body while I'm doing it, but I'm gonna show you what the products are that I use, and just talk a little bit about like what they do. So my first thing is to take my wafer, ta-da, da-da-da, and you can see that this one's kind of convex. It's hard to see against my door. There we go. You can see that it's got a little bit of a lip on it. Most of the wafers that you see are flat. Those work better for people who are actually in shape. Because I am overweight and I have a belly, my stoma is kind of an innie, and so I need as much stuff in there around it that it doesn't flow under the wafer and get all that liquid in there and make it wet and not stick. So first thing I need to do is I need to trim my wafer. So right now I'm kind of in a good place where I don't have to measure my stoma all the time. Usually what you do is you measure your stoma and then you cut out the size that fits. So right now I'm pretty much at like a solid 1.5 inches. So what I'll do is I'll cut out that 1.5 inches from this ring, and it's got measurements. I don't know if you can see it. It has the measurements on there, which is nice. It makes it much easier. All right, I'm going to try to do this without showing you I'm not wearing any pants. So it's real easy. They give you these nice little curved scissors in all of the sample kits that the companies send. So, ooh, I'm showing a little skin there. So they work nicely for cutting in a circle. You should see Amy, my home nurse, zipping through this process. She I don't know, she's amazing. She goes super fast with all this stuff. Of course, she's been doing it for years, and it's probably easier to do it for someone else than to do it on yourself, I'm guessing. All right, so now I've got that cut out. I peel off the backing, and then I take the smaller of my 2 Ekin rings. So this is the smaller one. This one is about probably about 2 inches in diameter. Yeah, I guess about 2 inches in diameter. So what I do is open that up, peel off all the little coverings and whatnot, and I kind of stretch this. It's sticky. So I kind of stretch that out, and I stick it to the back of the wafer. And this gives it a little bit, I'm going to leave it out just a hair. This just helps it to stick better and give it a little more depth. So it's real pliable. You just stick it on there. All right. My cat is trying to eat. Loki, get out of there. He's always trying to eat stuff. Oh, I probably just showed my belly again. All right, so the next step, Loki, stop it. My next step would be, after I take the old bag off, I take this adhesive remover. I think that's the adhesive remover. Yep. And I kind of go around the stoma just to get any extra goopy stuff out of there, because these rings actually, when they get wet, they get really like goopy. And it does get wet over time. You just don't want it wet to the point where it's getting to the edges and leaking out. That's a huge issue. So my usual time frame for this is about 3 days. That seems to do the trick. Anything past 3 days and I'm definitely risking leakage. So last time I changed it was on Tuesday, after I had my little nightmare overnight issue. And so today would have been the day to change it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday get it changed. So I take this barrier, or not, this is the adhesive remover. I take this wipe, and again, it's just like a little handy wipe, but it gets all the sticky stuff off the skin. You want to be careful too when you're pulling the old bag off that it doesn't actually pull the skin with it, because they can be really sticky. Like some areas are going to be really goopy and wet and come off real easy, and other areas are going to stick like, you know, there's no tomorrow. After I do that, I take like a wet paper towel and kind of go over it as well, just to get any of the adhesive remover off and any larger pieces of the Ekin rings off as well. So once I do that, in this particular case, well, actually no, next thing I do is this barrier wipe. And again, this is like a little handy wipe, and I take this and I go around the stoma, around the skin, and what it does is it's like a sticky film, and it helps the wafer to stick, but it also helps to protect the skin because you don't have the wafer right up against the skin. So it is a little bit of a barrier between the wafer and the skin. In this particular case, I do actually have a little area that the skin pulled up. So what I'll do after I put on the skin prep is I take this stoma powder, and what this does is it kind of covers up and dries up any open or wounded areas around the stoma, on the skin around the stoma, to help protect it also, again, from the adhesive. It kind of dries it out a little bit so that it's not sticking against that wet wounded area, so that when you pull it off, you're not pulling more skin off. This stuff actually works pretty good. I've had a couple of times where I've had to use that, and there's that. All right, so after I get my stoma powder, my adhesive remover, my barrier film, once all that stuff's done and it's all cleaned up, get all the mucus out of there, then I'm going to take this larger Eakins ring. You can kind of see the difference between, this one's about 2 inches and this one I think is about 4. Whoops. All right, so this one, oh my goodness, I'm showing off my belly. This isn't working very well. I'm going to prop this thing up. Sorry guys, it's chaos. All right, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ring, and it's very similar to the smaller one. Take it out of the package, peel off the little outer protective things. I'm actually not going to pull this one off just, well, I'm going to partially pull off because I have to get my bag off and actually do all that prep that I was talking about. So this one is a little bigger, it's about 4 inches. This one I kind of stretch a little bit, and as I'm stretching it, it gets that sort of convex shape to it. It's sort of like a cone, and I take that and I press that on the skin, this bigger ring. Okay, and again, this is all to give it more, like to build it up more, so that it's not, it doesn't have as much area for the liquid to get through and loosen the bag. So that one will go, like, if this is my stoma, that'll go like, it's hard to do this, but it'll go kind of right over top with that hole in the center around here, and then it'll kind of get pressed into the skin. Next, I take the wafer and I put that, let's pretend this is the white part is my skin, and I'll take the wafer and I'll put it, line up all the holes over the stoma, press that on there, and I'm going to press it to warm these rings and get them stuck to each other, the small ring and the big ring. After all that is said and done, then I take these are the waterproof strips, which unfortunately were not very waterproof this time. Usually they work fantastically, but they're just these little clear strips that will go around, just over the edge, the lip of the wafer, and like about half of it on the wafer, half of it on my skin. Again, just to keep more outside moisture out of there and to keep the inside moisture from leaking through the wafer. After that's all done, then, and of course I'm trying to keep the stoma dry in the meantime, and I'm taking one of the neat little tricks Amy taught me was to take like a half a piece of paper towel and kind of roll it up and put that, just stick that right on the stoma, and what happens is this will then collect any of the urine that's constantly coming out, so that you stay dry enough to be able to do this process, because the skin has to stay dry while you're doing all this. And when your stoma is constantly leaking stuff, it makes it pretty hard to do. So a lot of paper towels involved in this process, but it works pretty well. So then the very last thing that I will do is once the, oh no, everything's sticking together. Once the, all that stuff is attached and the wafers are on, I will then take my bag and it snaps right onto the ring. And then that will catch the urine. That has to get emptied about once an hour, the pouch. Sometimes I can go a little bit longer, but you really don't want it to go above like 2/3, or I'm sorry, about half of the way full. So if you look at the bag, you know, that's about halfway. And I've had a couple of times where I've let it get about halfway and it's very heavy, and then you're risking leakage. The weight, it pulls it down, it's not sticking as well, etc. They do have, I have one here, a stoma belt that actually clips to the outside edges of this particular brand, to the outside edges of the bag, and then it holds it around your waist. Also, it kind of pulls it in a little bit tighter to make that seal a little better. Unfortunately, because of the breakdown that I have, a little bit of blistering on my incision on the belly, wow. Oh, I just got a text message. I forgot what I was saying. So what it does is I can't actually wear that. I think that's part of what caused the breakdown, is because it wasn't quite healed enough to have something on it. And I think that kind of rubbed and pulled the skin up a little bit and just irritated it, and it got yucky. So anyway, those are the steps. I take all those sticky things and rings and barrier wipes and powders and all this other stuff, stick it all on me, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't have to do it for another 3 days. Unfortunately today it didn't work out that way. So that's it. That's how you change a bag. Oh my god, this is at 17 minutes already. So real quick, because of the wounds still being open, they do want me out of work for another week. I have another wound check next Wednesday. We'll see how things are going, see how this works with getting air to everything, if that starts to heal it up some more. And then hopefully I can get back to work. I did get my paperwork to fill out for my short-term disability, so I can at least get some pay for while I'm out. Luckily I did have some PTO, and I had several people donate PTO to me, which was very, very kind. I can't thank you enough for that. But a lot of the balance of the time, unfortunately, is going to have to fall into short-term disability, which is only like 60% of my pay. So it's going to be a little rough until I can start picking up those overtime shifts again. But I got the paperwork to fill out for that. I do have to get the doctor to fill some of that out, so I won't be able to get that done till next week when I go in Wednesday. In the meantime, I won't be getting any paychecks. They'll you know, backtrack it and reimburse, retro all of that though, which is good. I have my meeting set for next week with my unit director, my HR rep, and an employee health rep to review and hopefully approve the accommodations that are requested. I did provide documentation from my doctor. I saw the employee health doctor a couple days ago. I'm just concerned. I'm really nervous about it because I'm afraid that A, they're going to find reasons not to give me the accommodations, and I really don't want to have to go through the issues of taking it to the labor board and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully none of it's a big deal. It's 2 simple requests. Let me go to the bathroom once an hour, which I really only have to have that accommodated when I'm on one-to-ones and I need somebody to cover it. And to be able to keep a bottle of water with me, which we all do anyway, so you know, I just want it to be like in writing that it's okay. But they also keep mishmashing the terms accommodation and restriction, and there is a very big difference between the two. Restriction means I cannot perform this part of my job, and accommodation is that I need this little bit of assistance to perform those job duties. All right, we're at 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop rambling now. Hopefully everything goes well with that meeting. I don't know why I feel so nervous about it. That's next Thursday. Hopefully I'm back at work the week after. Hopefully this stuff heals up. It's just taken a really long time. It was a big incision, and you know, unfortunately my weight is not helping any of it. So that's, again, a lot of the reason why it was so complicated in the first place, and the issues with my breathing and everything else. So there's all that. I don't think I have anything else really important to share today. I'm going to try to get out for another walk. Brian will be down today. Trying to get out a little bit more here and there. I did start driving again. I don't know if I'm really supposed to be doing it, but I drove myself to the one appointment Wednesday, and I drove myself to Target yesterday. That's it. And I don't seem to have any issues with anything rubbing, you know, the seatbelt rubbing or anything like that. So it's really no different than me sitting on the couch, which is, you know, how unfortunately I'm spending a lot of my time right now. But I am going to go out for a walk today. It's beautiful out. I'm going to go get some fresh air, get some sunshine, and get moving a little bit. And that's that. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and just a reminder to please take care of yourselves, and if there's anything weird, get it looked at, get it checked out, and stop doing bad things like eating too much pizza and chocolate, and smoking, which thank goodness I quit when I did. You know, I could have had a lot more issues if I hadn't. So, all right, everybody have a wonderful weekend. I hope that this video was informative and taught you some things about stoma care. A lot of people put videos like out on YouTube showing the actual changing of their bag. I just think that that's, with as much as active as my stoma is, I just don't see that being doable. I'm usually doing it with my pants off, and you know, I'm sharing a lot, but I'm not going to share all that with you. So at least showing you the products and kind of just going through the steps that are required, I hope was informative to you guys. So hopefully I get this done this time and it sticks better, and there won't be any more liquid getting in there. You know, I'm already showered for the day, so hopefully it stays put this time. All right, sorry this was such a long video, but again, I hope it was a good one. Happy weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.